4x4 versus 4x5 round bales. Is it killing your production time or does it even matter? Okay, to understand how these things are truly different, we got to understand that they have different volumes, the amount of hay that fits in the space that they are each allotted. Here we go. 4x4, it's 4 high, 4x5, also 4 high in relation to the cylinder. Radius, this has a diameter of 4, that's the 4x4, which makes radius is going to be 2. This has a diameter of 5, 4x5, which means it's going to have a radius of 2.5. All right, there's going to be a lot of math in this one, but I'm going to give you a second. So I'm just going to show it. You can pause it. You can look at it, but we're not going to spend a lot of time talking about it. We're going to move on. All right, here's the volume. 4x4, about 50 cubic feet. 4x5, 78.5 cubic feet. So how many times greater is one bigger than the other? It is 1.56 times larger. Just adding a foot made that thing 1.5 times as large as the 4x4. That's a lot of volume. So why does that matter? Wrap times. Average wrap time for a bale is 45 seconds. That means that's time you're spending in the field not moving. So we're going to assume that it's 45 seconds each. We're going to assume 100 bales of 4x5 from this point forward. So 100 bales of 4x5, going back to how many times greater it is, equals 156 4x4s. That means on the 4x5 side, you're wrapping for 4,500 seconds, which is about 75 minutes, which is about an hour and a half-ish. 4x4s, you're wrapping for 7,000 seconds, which is 117 minutes, which means you're wrapping for almost 2 hours. That means you're sitting completely still doing nothing but burning diesel for nearly 2 hours. That's a difference of 42 minutes. And if you make 2 cuttings like we do around here, that's 84 total minutes difference that you got to sit there longer to make those 4x4 bales. Then after you roll them, you got to haul them. I'm a supporter of putting my hay in the dry, which means we're going to haul them. I've got a 20-foot flatbed, which means I can put 8 on the bottom, 3 on the top, and my tractor driver's taking 2. So we got 11 and 2. We're hauling 13. I've got 100 bales divided by 13 per load. Means I got 7.6. It means I'm going to take 8 total loads. I can't take partial loads. Not how that works. 4x4s, they're not as big around. I can fit 5 on the bottom of my deck, which means I can fit 10 and 4 is 14. Tractor's still only carrying 2 at a time, which means I'm taking a total of 16, but I got 158 of them now. So 158 divided by 16 per trip equals 9.8. Can't take partial loads. Means we're going to take 10 loads of 4x4. Now, I am very fortunate that my hayfield is across the road from my barn, so it doesn't take me an extraordinary amount of time to haul the hay from the field to the barn. It takes me about a half an hour per load. That means 4x5s are going to take me about 4 hours. 4x4s are going to take me about 5 hours. That's 60 minutes hauling extra 4x4s. And again, if we make 2 cuttings, that's going to be 120 minutes or an extra 2 hours. Now we got to feed them. The whole purpose in making is feeding. And if you're feeding, say, 5 per week, again, for small producers, you're feeding about 392.5 cubic feet every time you go out and feed. And if you divide that by 50.24, the volume of the 4x4, it would take 7 of the 4x4s to match the amount of feed you're feeding per week of the 4x5. Assume it's about 5 minutes per bale fed because you're cutting your strings off. You're not just leaving them on. That means you're spending about 25 minutes feeding 4x5s, or you're spending 42 minutes feeding 4x4s. 17 extra minutes to feed 4x4s times 27 weeks of feeding hay means 459 extra minutes or 7.65 additional hours. When you add all this extra time up, you've got roughly 11 hours of extra time built into using that 4x4. But here's what makes the 4x4 attractive. It's about $5,000 less than a 4x5 of similar model. After about 20 minutes of research, don't judge me, this was quickly done. But it comes with roughly 11 hours extra per year, and it scales to whatever size operation you're doing. Now, if you're running 200 head, does this make any sense for you? No, absolutely not. But who do I speak to 99.9% of the time? I'm talking to small producers. I'm talking to the guys that got 50 head or less. And even at 50 head, I think a 4x4 would be a little bit small. And I don't think you need to be making your own hay anyway at that small a size, but that's neither here nor there. And the last thing is that 4x4 doesn't require near as large a tractor as that 4x5, which means your diesel consumption is coming down, both in the field and when you feed. And that calculation is for a whole other time. It's not like they put out exact numbers on fuel economy on tractors. But somebody challenged me. They said, what about that extra time with the 4x4? What about that extra time? So there you go. There's your answer. There's the extra time. Is it worth it to save $5,000? I don't know. I don't make hay anymore. That's for you to decide.